Hey y'all, what's up? Chad Wright coming to you here once again on the channel, Team Righteous. And today we've got the 2009 Kawasaki Vulcan 900 on the dyno. This is my personal bike, my daily rider. I ride this thing right here when I'm trying to save on fuel, because you know fuel, the price of it keeps going up. Well, it has been for a while. It's actually started coming back down a little bit. May have something to do with the elections, who knows. But anyways, pickup truck gets about 17, 18 miles a gallon. Motorcycle here gets around 42 to 44 miles per gallon. And I decided, hey, I'm gonna put this thing here on the dyno, see what we can get out of it. And you're probably wondering, well, how are you gonna tune it? Because as most of y'all know, can't tune through the ECU on a 2009 Kawasaki Vulcan 900, or we can at least. There may be some other companies out there that can, some other tuning software that allows it, but Woolwich does not have an ECU broke for the Vulcan 900. So anyways, this is it. A little dirty up under the seat there, but as you can see, it has the Cobra swept exhaust like you saw on the Yamaha Raider 1800 that we dyno tuned. I think it was 1800 or 1900, maybe 1900. But anyways, also it has one other thing. So I bought this bike last year, or traded a Hayabusa for it, and I didn't know anything about this bike other than I liked the way it looked. It was a pretty cool bike, and I wanted the cruiser. I wanted another cruiser to be able to ride and everything. So I haven't messed with anything on this bike. And when we got the dyno set up last year down at the other shop down in Leeton, we actually put this bike on the dyno, made a pull with it, and it really didn't make very much horsepower. And that was because it had baffles in the exhaust, and it wasn't ever very loud, but it sounded good. And but it didn't make very much power. Well, we actually put it on the dyno probably about a month or so ago, and from what I remember, it was making like 37 horsepower down in Leeton, and I think it made 57 horsepower when we put it on here before. But either way, we're going to get a baseline today. But being as, like I said, I didn't know anything about the bike, there was a box up under here, and at first I just thought it was a box for LED lights. It wasn't hooked up to anything, so I didn't know anything about it. So this box here is a Cobra FI 2000, and it's a fuel controller. It's a piggyback controller. Like I said, it's not hooked up to the battery or anything, and it works similar to a Power Commander, like one of the really old Power Commanders. So it doesn't have all the features in it. You can't tune by RPM and do all the other good stuff, but it does have on here, see if I can get this thing right here open. So if you look down in here, you'll see it has a left, a middle, and a right. And so from what I've done research on this thing right here, the left one controls part throttle, the middle one here controls like mid throttle, and this right here controls wide open throttle. So anyways, we're gonna get a baseline, see what this thing right here is making as far as peak horsepower goes. I'm gonna tune the wide open throttle portion to begin with. And then I won't bore y'all, but we'll do the drivability too, because I want to make sure this thing right here is running good and safe when I'm going down the road. As far as the air-fuel ratio goes, I really don't even know what it's at because I've never checked it before. But also, I want to aim for probably the best fuel mileage I can get out of this thing. So if it is a little bit fat at part throttle and low throttle, I'm probably going to lean it out some, because I really don't care to, you know, be running fat in that area. So I just want to be able to make power and be safe in that area, but mainly, like I said, I just want to be able to make more power at wide open throttle. So anyways, let's see what we can get out of this thing right here, see if we can get some gains out of this thing right here, and I'll show y'all along as we tune it. Just to know, I don't have my tripod here on the GoPro, so it may be a little bit different with the camera, maybe a little clunky, maybe a finger on the side somewhere that might get in the way sometimes during the video. But anyways, we're going to try to get this thing right here going and see if we can make some power with it. Alright y'all, so we're going to start making our baseline pulls with the fuel controller unhooked from the bike, so it's not tuning the bike any at all. And then we're going to connect it and see what kind of changes we can make with this thing right here once we get it connected on there, and see if it makes any gain so here we go. We're going to see what we ended up making here. So looks like we made 55.24 horsepower. So we're gonna go with that there as our baseline number. So we made 55.24 horsepower at 5,500 RPM. So the power is starting to fall off up top, and we're gonna see if we can keep that carrying on any by adding a little bit of fuel. But I'll let y'all see what's going on here. So if you look right up in there, you'll see that the air-fuel ratio is at 12.01, so 12 to 1 air-fuel ratio, which is pretty rich down low. And then as it goes across, you'll follow it. And it'll continue to get leaner as it's going across through there. So it's actually kind of weird. It's kind of tuned like a carburetor bike. Whenever you try to tune carburetor bikes or whatever, you really don't have, you know, the way that you can fine tune each RPM individually. So you just go in there and you jet it accordingly. And so you want it to start off rich, end up lean towards the end, and basically try to find an average happy medium through there. So I'm going to see what this fuel controller does when we hook it up. Just going to put it in there just like it is, connect it straight on there, see if it makes any gains immediately, see if it changes the air fuel ratio any at all, and then go from there. So let's see what we can do once we hook this thing right here up. All right, so here we go. We got the fuel controller here connected to the ground. So we're going to see, does this thing right here work? Does it do anything? Is it going to control anything? Is it going to change anything? We'll see. Like I said, I haven't made any adjustments in it from where it was at. So I'm just going to go by whatever it was adjusted at from whoever originally had put it on the bike before it was ever taken off. So we're going to see, do we get any gains? Does it change the air fuel ratio? Where we're going to be at? That too, but trying to get more power too. Alright y'all, so here we go. I'd say not too much change on the air fuel ratio. Did gain a little bit of horsepower. So let's see here. I'm going to try to look at it and compare here. 2,700 RPMs. So alright, so 2,700 RPMs before. We were at 12 to 1 and 25 horsepower. Now we're at 25.83 horsepower, and it leaned it out some actually. And then throughout the curve, it's actually smoother than what it was. It's not as erratic of a jump, but still, I'd say a little bit lean. It actually seemed to work out pretty good. Not sure why it done what it done. But anyways, we're going to see if we can try to make some more adjustments. I'm going to try to bump the fuel up on the wide open throttle portion. Let this thing cool off for a little bit though, because it's not like it is when we're tuning through the ECU. It doesn't have a lot of cool down time because I'm not having to pull the ECU out and flash it and all the other stuff. Just turn those little screws in there and it'll make adjustments. So anyways, so we're going to let this thing cool off a little bit and then move back at y'all a little bit, see if we can get a little bit more power out of this thing. Alright y'all, so we made a few adjustments there in the drivability. Made some adjustments in the fuel tuner and wide open throttle. We bumped it up a couple notches, really not a very big gain. So we're going to turn it on up some more and see if we can pick up some more power out of it than where we started off at. sure how much of that there y'all saw, considering that the camera fell down off the bike over here I'd propped up on. But made some gains, got the air-fuel ratio looking pretty good, pretty decent. So I'm gonna make a couple more adjustments, let it cool off just a little bit more, and see if we can get just a little bit more out of it. I think we might be able to jump up to 60 horsepower if we can get the bike cooled back off enough. So we'll see here in just a minute. All right, y'all, so here we are from this last pull. I never did show you all the numbers on there. But we made 57.47 horsepower. So we're up about 2 horsepower, which is not too bad at all, especially considering that we can't adjust timing or anything else in it. And all thing we're adjusting is the fuel. So we've richened it up some, and we still got some more to go with it. So we've turned it up some more, try to get this right here to dial in a little bit better than what it is right here. But like I said, 2 horsepower at 55 horsepower would be like if you made 6 horsepower gains at 165 horsepower. So we're actually making pretty decent gains considering we're only adjusting the fuel. And torque's up about the same as well from where we was at. So let's see here where we're at right now. We're at about 58 foot-pounds of torque, 58 and a half foot-pounds of torque. So pretty good. I think it's up a couple of foot-pounds of torque as well. So anyways, I'm going to throw y'all here on the bike as we make this next pull. I found my old ram mount that connects to the GoPro here. So check this thing right here. You can't really see what's down here on the bottom, but it's just like a regular phone GoPro mount or phone mount that you can put on there when you do like a ram mount for your phone. So we just connect this thing right here on here and let you go along for the ride as we make these next couple of pulls here. Alright y'all, so we got the Vulcan 900 here done off the dyno here. So I want to show you all a chart here that kind of shows you the numbers that it made throughout the run. And I can still show you the graph too, but I just wanted to be able to show you the chart. So anyways, these bikes from the factory make 43 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque to the wheel. So bone stock, not changing anything at all. They make 43 horsepower and 50 foot-pounds of torque. So this one here at 3,700 RPMs is about where it makes peak torque at before we adjusted anything at all. Actually it's at 3,600 on here. We made 55.8 foot-pounds of torque, and once we tuned it there, it got us up to 58.3 and 58.5 right through there. And then still down through here at 4,500, we're still making even more torque. So it's actually carrying the torque further out than what it was previously. So we're doing good there. And then, like I said, as far as horsepower goes, We made 55.23, 55.24 horsepower right here. And then after tuning it, we made 57.62 horsepower. So we made 2.5 horsepower gains, 3 foot-pounds of torque gains. Got the air-fuel ratio running better. The drivability should be better as well. It actually was really lean even in the drivability portion. I ended up adding a good portion of fuel there as well in the part throttle and mid throttle. The fuel tuner actually done pretty well. It didn't add anything down low in the RPMs as much as I thought it was going to. It actually it fattened it up a little bit, but it didn't do it as much as I thought it was going to. And up top, it actually made bigger adjustments up top than what it did down low. And we ended up making some gains everywhere across the board. So this right here at the top here was the initial run. So even down here, say at 3,000 RPMs, we're making 51.1 foot-pounds of torque. And now after making our adjustments and everything, we ended up making 53.8, might as well say 54 foot-pounds of torque. So we even gained 3 foot-pounds of torque down at 3,000. So this thing right here, everywhere it's going to gain, it's going to feel a whole lot stronger down low. 3 foot-pounds of torque is actually a significant amount, especially like I said, whenever you're only making 50-something foot-pounds of torque versus where, say, your bigger engine bikes or whatever, 1000s, they make 75 to 80 foot-pounds of torque, and then Busas and 14s or whatever, they make 110 to 115 foot-pounds of torque. So whenever you make gains on those right there, you also make similar gains on those. You only make 2 to 3 foot-pounds of torque gains, maybe 4 on those. So if you make 3 foot-pounds of torque gain on an engine that doesn't make as much torque as those do, that's actually going to probably feel even more significant. So anyways, we appreciate all of y'all. I'm going to get this thing here off so I can get to the house. Like I said, it's my daily rider, so we got to ride it back to the house. And I'll also be able to know, does it get better fuel mileage or is it going to get worse because I actually ended up adding fuel to it. I'm thinking it may possibly get better because it was pretty lean. So we're going to know after this right here, does the change in the air fuel ratio help with the fuel mileage and help with the drivability and everything else with it. So appreciate it all y'all. Have a good one.